Even as I record right now, the market is continuing to dip, and I know you're probably not in the mood to hear it, just because sentiment right now and morale is kind of low, to be honest, but the truth is, when there's blood running in the streets, as there is now, as there has been, that's when there's opportunity, and certainly there is blood in the streets right now. It's probably a good time to take a look, consider some alternative perspectives, and get a sense of what the smart money is doing, aka crypto whales. Smart money takes advantage of opportunities, good opportunities, in all the various forms that they may present themselves in, and they've been taking advantage of this one, and the ones that they've seen over the course of the last month. They've done so by accumulating various coins. This isn't hypothetical either. It's quantitative and it's objective. It's by the numbers, so we're gonna take a look at exactly which projects the smart money crypto whales have been buying in what numbers, and exactly what they've been up to over the course of this difficult month. But I am not a financial or investment advisor, and by extension this video is not official financial or investment advice. Why are whales buying anything at all right now? It's an interesting question to consider kind of at a top level, and the answer boils down to their vision, which is very long-term smart money crypto whales. They see things in the long term. They see the crypto market's gonna be going up with time, especially if we look at Bitcoin. There are more and more states or countries that are interested in buying Bitcoin. The news is actually pretty good at a macro level, and doesn't really correlate with the price right now, in my opinion, but oh well. Whales tend to feel the same way, and they're preparing for this eventuality. For example, we have China and Middle Eastern countries that are considering a Bitcoin buying strategy. Abu Dhabi's sovereign wealth fund, they bought over $460 million of Bitcoin in February. And then Brazil, this is also a country that's on the list because as of November 2024, they introduced legislation to invest 5% of their strategic reserve into Bitcoin. That hasn't really been making a lot of headlines, but that's still pretty big news, especially if you couple that with the fact that the current government in the United States is looking into a strategic Bitcoin reserve. If you've been following this channel, you should know very well Larry Fink by name. He is the CEO of BlackRock, which is the largest investment firm in the world, and besides being a pretty big and outspoken fan of RWAS, real world assets, he also said on March 7th, actually quote, "If there's a dip, investors should buy." So that's a pretty recent testimonial actually. This has been about as good a dip as they come. So clearly the smart money has a certain opinion. They have a certain long-term perspective. With that context in mind, I think we've set the stage here. Let's take precisely a look at what it is that the whales are buying. So Bitcoin is obviously right now currently a logical target for whales, and at current prices, we're sitting at just above $81,000. That probably comes as no surprise. That's about 25, or I should say, between 25 and 30% down from that all-time high of just below $109,000. There's only 2 months ago. Now certainly, that interest I mentioned about nation-states being attracted to Bitcoin strategically is helping right now. Once countries start buying Bitcoin, this is certainly gonna influence the price. There's also increased demand by institutions, which is related to the international strategies. Just look how well Bitcoin spot ETFs as one example. Pretty much all major investment firms have a Bitcoin spot ETF at this point, so firms like BlackRock, Grayscale VanEck, Franklin Templeton and many others currently. There are 12 US-based Bitcoin spot ETFs and various Bitcoin futures ETFs. Recently, there's also been some sell-offs due to current market conditions. However, in general, they are all still in the positive, and there are still a lot of bullish targets out there, even for 2025. Some are saying that BTC could go as high as $250,000 this year. Tim Draper expects in 2014. You got to remember that he predicted BTC would reach $10,000 within 3 years. Sure enough, that's exactly what Bitcoin did. So that seems like a long way off to 150K, but it's about a 4x from where we are right now. This altcoin buzz spotlight is brought to you by Sweet. And if we take a look at the market, you could say that it's gone crazy. Really, over the last 30 days, we saw huge liquidations of over $1 billion and a pump and dump over the weekend, as we've been talking about in this video. But some coins like I have weathered the storm and are still a great investment opportunity today. It has quickly become one of the leading altcoins in this market, and let's consider why here. First of all, SWI is killing it. in terms of all the big sectors that it supports. So I'm talking about DeFi. That is where SWI crossed $1 billion in TVL and is almost at $1.5 billion in record time. SWI liquidity aggregator Deepbook also launched its Deep token DEP in October, which is holding up well. Despite the tough market conditions, Walrus is changing the game in decentralized data storage. Its token launch is coming very soon, and Solana builders are building on SWI now with integrations like Phantom and Backpack. SWI even has a small but growing memecoin market for the memecoin lovers out there. If you have not used SWI lately, then come give it a try, and also follow SWI's X account for all the latest updates. Check out the links that you'll find in the description of this video below. The second asset that whales are scooping up right now aggressively is Ripple and the XRP token, which is actually shown pretty good resilience because whereas a lot of coins are suffering right now, XRP in a relative sense has held its ground. The current price of XRP is still $2.24 as I record. As already mentioned, given the circumstances, that's not too bad. Whales are also aggressively buying XRP. Here's one example. One whale that bought for 0.6 million XRP a day ago. And then more broadly speaking, we have whales that bought 150 million XRP over the course of the last 48 hours. So there's something going on right here. There's something, obviously, that they're anticipating. And this is keeping the XRP price above key demand levels. Support is currently at $2. So if we dip any lower, that's where we're gonna find support. Right now we sit a little bit above but that support level is important. Then again, on the other hand, more optimistically, XRP, some people are saying, could be ready for a $15 price tag as well. It actually just broke out of a symmetrical triangle on the monthly chart. So if you're the technical analysis type, and you've been paying attention to this, that is a big deal, and certainly there is an argument to be made that XRP has been a little bit undervalued, given the rough market conditions, and trying to stay on that optimistic wavelength. Look, if you think about it, Ripple is actually in a pretty prime position. With the recent US government stablecoin policy update, that was a big deal for Ripple and for XRP. If you haven't heard about this, it's really big news and really good positive news for their USD stablecoin. And then also, don't forget that the very long-standing SEC lawsuit is finally coming to an end. And so all of a sudden there are a lot of things, quite a few variables actually, that are shifting, once again pivoting towards XRP's and Ripple's favor. And then last but not least, for today's list of assets that whales are aggressively accumulating, we want to consider Indo Finance ticker ONDO. And realistically, unless you've been living under a rock, a crypto rock, I guess you should know by now that a WA again, real world assets is a white hot sector within crypto. ONDO is one of the top 3 contenders in this market segment currently. The ONDO price action is dipping. It went from a recent all-time high of $2.14 from about 3 months ago to its current price of just over 82. It does seem like a good entry point though. Indo Finance seems to be doing all the right things, and it's getting a lot of attention. The right people are backing it and supporting it. So at the level of fundamentals, arguably, it's as strong as ever. And look, maybe you care about this, maybe you don't, but it also got a little bit of publicity and attention, given that Trump's DeFi platform, World Liberty Financial, they also acquired ONDO. This even resulted in Donald Trump Jr. being an invited speaker, and kind of a surprise speaker actually, at the recent ONDO summit in New York City. And then by the numbers, ONDO Finance also managed to break up above $1 billion in TVL total value locked and has managed to stay there. Therefore, there's not really any mystery as to why are buying ONDO right now and have been buying ONDO over the course of the last month. We actually have the example even of one whale that dumped all their Pepe and BAM with a loss, and then they went all into ONDO. So if nothing else, that represents conviction. Let me know your thoughts about the market, guys. I know things are a little bit bleak right now. Sentiment is not great. But that's how it is. There are opportunities out there. That's always the silver lining. And that's what you had to remind yourself. Kind of remove emotions from things. And if in doubt again, take a look at what the smart money is doing. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Also, join the very active discussions that we have ongoing, both on Discord and on X. You can find those links in the description below.